7 years ago, WWE intended on resurrecting this premium live event but then cancelled said plans in favor of Great Balls of Fire as a way to commemorate the legendary song from Jerry Lee Lewis. And that event ended up being more of a bloody show due to the amount of wrestlers that bled throughout. Makes me wonder if everyone is going to be set on fire throughout this night. Also, after the last 3 events I've sinned, I'm guessing WWE revived the Bad Blood name in the hopes of making an entire show actually enjoyable and memorable for more than just the Hell in a Cell match. Bad Blood is known for having a Hell in a Cell match as the main event of the show, and in this case, WWE gives a twist by having the match kick off the show. Obviously, the reason comes down to who draws the most money and interest, but I'd really think this match should overpower that due to it being the culmination of a feud that's lasted literally this entire year so far. Also, this match is pushed away from the main event spot due to The Rock making an appearance at the end of the tag team match involving the Bloodline. But because that doesn't do anything for the immediate future involving the final boss, the appearance was a waste, so I feel perfectly confident in adding the 20 sins.
Hell in a Cell ruined many careers.
At the top of the list, unfortunately, is The Fiend Bray Wyatt after what happened with this match in 2019. The opening video package for Bad Blood was one of the most creative I've ever seen. Cody Rhodes being tasked with staking out the State Farm Arena with Metro Boomin by Triple H for 3 months was both funny and amazing.
Man, we just gonna sit here all the way to October.
Do I even want to ask what these guys did when they had to use the restroom, or wanted an intimate moment with their loved ones? WWE be like, we're going to jump scare the audience with the opening pyro, show the title of the event, but then don't blast the pyro to make the fans think we don't have any, and then BAM! Unfortunately, does not have the same impact as Kane's entrance. Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi are here to host Bad Blood, and honestly, they are the best version of those who host these PLEs because instead of showing up and being forgotten of, they host an entire party in a skybox to have a great time. Now that is a host. I don't mean to sound rude, but I am in disbelief that this is the first time a lot of fans noticed the original Hell in a Cell colors return, only to say they supposedly forgot entirely about WrestleMania 39 almost 2 years ago. And on top of that, there were a lot of rumors that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre would ascend the cage simply because there were holes in the wall, which has always been on the structure for every Hell in a Cell match in existence.
The Demon Kane!
We're still calling him Demon Kane? Masked or unmasked, he was always a demon. About as useful calling him that as it is giving Seth Rollins the word freaking in his name. Because Drew McIntyre wasn't that visible, the production team could not time the pyrotechnics to his pose. If you weren't going to pose on the turnbuckle as you normally would due to the flames, the middle of the ring would have been a better option for the crew to see you.
We generally try to avoid using the word hatred.
Well, that is a bunch of bullshit, as the vast majority of all feuds in professional wrestling stems on hatred. Goldberg is here? Well, it's been over 2 years since his last match with WWE, just like his return in 2019, so guess it's time to repeat the pattern. Who's the poor soul who's going to lose his world championship within a couple minutes this time?
CM Punk against Ryback.
And with that, Ryback is going to demand royalties for the usage of that reference. That or another all-you-can-eat set of Ruffles chips.
Are no disqualifications.
Should have told the referees that in 2019.
The trilogy starts now.
Starts? If the trilogy of matches between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre starts now, then what the hell happened at the last 2 premium live events? Or did they have a secret third match in Appleton, and this match is the start of the sequel trilogy? I wouldn't recommend that. Fans don't tend to take too kindly to sequel trilogies these days.
Did McIntyre summon the devil himself?
Well, if he did, he's doing a far better job than those in that other company when it comes to the devil storyline. Oops.
Talk to some of the legends who you have to use the cell as a weapon.
Well, it's pretty obvious that Mark Henry wasn't among those legends being talked to when it comes to Hell in a Cell matches, as he won his match without so much as touching the cage.
Steel chair in hand.
CM Punk should have paid attention to the last time we had a Bad Blood event, as Triple H did the same thing to Shawn Michaels twice and got countered both times.
These men want to maim one another.
Oh good, I was so worried that these guys had absolutely no interest in maiming one another in a match called Hell in a Cell.
This structure.
Conversations during matches, as you could clearly hear Drew McIntyre ask CM Punk if he was ready to get his head stomped in.
The Undertaker. Every time he left, he was never the same.
I've watched every Hell in a Cell match involving The Undertaker, and I can confirm to you that, win or loss, he always left the same as he was when he entered. Should have used Mick Foley as the example for someone who was never the same in this match.
Triple H and Shawn Michaels had the longest ever Hell in a Cell match,
where they spent almost 10 minutes just lying around from pure exhaustion. Just saying, it isn't as impressive when you understand the reality of why it lasted as long as it did. Ceiling cam.
Rules inside.
I guess even the tables love to screw over Drew McIntyre any chance they get.
Disaster, and now it's...
Drew McIntyre clutches his throat in pain from landing on the table when he should logically clutch his arm, as that appendage took the full force of the fall and spared his throat completely.
Utilizing it as...
I'm just saying, CM Punk could have legitimately impaled Drew McIntyre through the head with this piece of the table leg, as there was a sharp piece that barely missed Drew's face. Better thing to do would have been to wield the piece like a chair, because risk and impalement should not be a thing in pro wrestling, as everything can go wrong even with professional training. Winner of Bad Blood 2024 to bring you the horror show at Extreme Rules in 2020. You know exactly what I'm talking about, and if you don't ask. So, are we not allowed to pin opponents outside the ring this time around? Just checking to make sure, because falls count anywhere, even inside Hell in a Cell, and the rules tend to switch from time to time.
17,000.
Fucks I do not give about the number of fans in attendance.
Oh, tonight, hey, you and I...
Drew McIntyre had the best reaction when he saw CM Punk bleeding from the head, like a true psychopath who sees his wounded foe and wants to cause more damage. It's the littlest of details that make this match so good.
Let's get finish it all!
Considering the stairs just hit CM Punk in the other side of his head that isn't bleeding, how is it not bleeding afterward?
Your wife is gonna leave you.
Drew McIntyre declares that AJ Lee is going to leave CM Punk simply because his career will end. If anything, I'd say Drew's wife is the one who might consider leaving thanks to his continued obsession with Punk over anyone else. Not endorsing, obviously, but if we want to talk wives leaving, that is the more likely option. Drew prepares his next assault on Punk, but then chooses to stand around and pose for the audience instead. Drew McIntyre tries to pose like Jesus in the hopes that CM Punk would cease the attack and then realize too late that the latter is an atheist. Turns out this legitimately cut open Drew McIntyre's scalp, causing a deep gash. I wanted to make sure he was actually okay before saying this, but because he is, I feel no guilt whatsoever in saying, Hell in a Cell is back, motherfuckers!
Drew, DTM, McIntyre's down!
Since CM Punk has a look of despair on his face, I think it's safe to say that Falls Count Anywhere rules do not apply in this Hell in a Cell match. Bet Punk wishes it did now.
And he's got it in!
Technically, no. CM Punk does not have the sharpshooter locked in properly, as the pressure is not even locked on Drew's legs yet, nor is Punk actually standing up as he should. Winner of Bad Blood 2024 to bring you WrestleMania 13, and for that, I'll actually take office in because the callback to Bret Hart and Steve Austin in that gruesome submission match was done perfectly. Meanwhile, on this far side of the arena,
Just powering up Pond.
the strength Drew McIntyre has to keep CM Punk in the air for the suplex through the table, the strength CM Punk had to keep himself airborne, and of course the trust of one another's safety was well done. I'll take 5 sins off for this great table spot. While it was brutal for CM Punk to get hit with white noise in that shout out to Sheamus, unfortunately Drew McIntyre took the worst from that spot due to landing on the edge of the stairs. I always wonder, has there ever been a time when the wrestler on the receiving end of the move on the stairs actually took more damage than the one executing it in this type of scenario? Since it was so difficult for the referee to get into position, couldn't he have just jumped out of the ring and counted from the apron? At least then he wouldn't have to squeeze through. Banging, banging, banging. Legal, but Drew McIntyre is a dick to CM's Punks. And also, how did Punk fall for the obvious begging for mercy so that I can take advantage of your distracted ass trick that he himself has pulled off many times over the years? If I had a nickel for every time someone brought out the ominous black bag only to reveal that there were not any dreaded thumbtacks inside, I would be rich as fuck. While it's appropriate given the feud, it's still a major disappointment to hype us up only to reveal it's just bracelet beads. The ultimate FU to CM Punk. I guess you could say this gave Drew McIntyre quite the attitude adjustment later, am I right? Forget thumbtacks, forget barbed wire, forget tables on fire. This is one of the most brutal moments in Hell in a Cell history, and you're a freaking liar if you say otherwise. I'd rather get thrown into a flaming table full of barbed wire and thumbtacks than land tailbone first on the sharp edge of stairs. I'm taking away 30 sins simply for that because it's one of the most brutal bumps anyone can go through in professional wrestling, and Drew deserves all the praise in the world plus some.
When he ripped the bracelet off, go to sleep! CM Punk!
A fantastic ending to one of the best Hell in a Cell matches in history. Bracelet beads in the mouth followed by a GTS with a chain wrapped around the knee. This would have been the perfect ending to this premium live event, but we're not done, folks. We're just getting started. CM Punk tries to slam the cage door and it responds by hitting him back. I guess even Hell in a Cell doesn't like Punk. I can get behind Tiffany Stratton kissing Nia Jax's ass because she's an upstart who could use a good push. but what purpose do Pretty Deadly serve? Matter of fact, these guys bow down to Nia and are then forgotten of completely afterward. I love the idea of having WWE Hall of Famers hang out at ringside for matches at premium live events. Reminds me a lot of when NXT did that to show the audience who's going to be joining up with the roster soon. In this case, showing those who have paved the way for the current talent to walk.
You can catch Booker T.
Booker T is the only legend who gets his music to play during the introductions, but fuck everyone else, sadly. You couldn't have cut to Jade, Naomi, and Bianca's party before we showed the hype video for Nia Jax and Bayley. After we show what's coming up next, we're supposed to get right into the action, not wait another 5 minutes.
Which match are you most looking forward to seeing tonight?
We already saw it. What do you bet the trio of hosts had to come up with something else because this question was asked after the brutal Hell in a Cell match already took place? WWE showing win-loss records. I seriously hope we're not going to try and bring in win-loss rankings. That other company tried and failed to do that literally twice because win-loss records in a scripted show is the dumbest shit ever concocted.
Why is Nia Jax better than ever?
Probably because she stopped injuring her opponents. I mean, what?
Why? Cover now.
Nia Jax cops a feel on Bayley down below in the first attempt at pinning her. Let's take it easy, Nia.
Flips underneath, looking for a sunset flip.
I'm sorry, but what? Because of the major size difference between these two athletes, there was no way in hell that Bayley is able to successfully do a sunset flip on Nia Jax and make her fall over.
Now looking to use her quickness here against Nia.
How the hell did Nia Jax fall for that? Didn't once tip her off that Bayley was going to send her sailing out of the ring ever since she started running from the literal other side of the ring?
Challenger. Bayley with a still taking Nia down.
Wrong. Nia Jax countered and took Bayley down, as you could see her slam Bayley to the ground before losing her own balance.
Top five, Bayley.
I know I should be impressed at Nia Jax's attempt at a Hurricane Rana, but with all due respect, when you're that size, attempting that high-risk move is not a good idea because of two factors. The risk to Nia's own well-being, and the fact that it looks terrible as a result, as we see here.
Belly to belly.
Bayley, right infringement.
Bayley again over the top. Sunset flip.
Poor Bayley hoped to do the sunset flip powerbomb into the corner, and all it did was cause Nia Jax to accidentally squash her with a modified annihilator.
So the recount can reset. Here. Oh, Bayley, no, that's takedown by Bayley.
In this case, it's understandable that Michael Cole was confused on what just happened. Nia Jax hit a messed up version of the Samoan drop, but it also looked like Bayley countered as well.
Oh!
The referee gets knocked over at the crucial point of the match cliche. And holy crap, is this the first time we've seen female referees get knocked out in a match? Or in this case, crushed?
Bayley, though, make sure.
Tiffany Stratton had quite the momentum, arriving with the Money in the Bank purse, and then missed Bayley completely in the whack attempt. And yes, I just said whack attempt. Nia Jax sitting up like The Undertaker, and the unfortunate timing of Tiffany looking like she is attempting to cash in her Money in the Bank contract was perfect. We, the audience, know that Tiffany had no intention of cashing in as the referee picked up the briefcase herself, and the timing was amazing, taking off 2 cents.
Call herself champion.
Obviously, the referee didn't see it, but Nia Jax's foot was underneath the bottom rope, which classifies as being out of bounds and cause for rope breaks. Also, I think Michael Cole meant to say Nia Jax can call herself still champion, as Nia was already the champion heading into the match in the first place. I really want to be excited for this match involving Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Unfortunately, the build since SummerSlam has been one of the worst. Finn turns on Damian, then proceeds to run away every chance he gets, despite his anger being caused by jealousy and hatred of Damian's success over his own, thus shutting down Finn's reputation more and more with each passing month. Also, the awkward timing of this, as Finn Balor is one half of the World Tag Team Champions during this singles feud. You know, those tag belts that got introduced but never made it to a PLE since WrestleMania 40? Yep, a tag champ is in the midst of a singles feud, and the belts are forgotten once again. By the way, 15 cents for that because these short match cards are really not doing it. Also, the 5 match card thing only worked for NXT because it was focusing solely on a single brand. Can't we just give the single branded PLEs another shot? Because when you have 2 brands on one PLE, 5 matches just isn't enough because too many feuds get left off. I'm not saying they should all be on the show. I'm just saying they're not putting the best feuds on the show. So, is Finn Balor set to compete in an impromptu blindfold match against Damian Priest or something? Also, FXXX? That weirdly sounds like something you'd see in the adult film industry. Where exactly are you going with this, Finny? Also, that one sad moment when Finn Balor walking out with the World Tag Team Championship around his waist is the closest these titles have gotten to be on a PLE since WrestleMania. Damian Priest non-pyro.
Side of Atlanta with Cody Graves.
Cody Graves, and introducing his tag team partner, Corey Rhodes. Why do those actually sound like badass names? Finn Balor has been running away from Damian Priest at every chance he got, and in the first moment of the match, he starts poking Damian repeatedly as if that's going to do anything. Man, what happened to the Finn Balor that everyone actually cared about?
Balor believed he was going to close in on a world championship.
If Finn Balor was so pissed off that Damian Priest supposedly cost him the World Heavyweight Championship on multiple occasions, then why didn't he do something about it back when it happened? Waiting 8 additional months for Damian to cash in the contract, have a lengthy title reign, and then cost him the title afterward was his plan? When you put it that way, it does sound pretty stupid.
It's like a heavyweight boxing match.
What boxing match have you seen that involves kicking your opponents? And also, heavyweight? Have you seen Finn Balor? If you're going to show these overhead shots of the audience, you could at least have some lights on so that we, the viewers, can actually see the audience. The spectacle becomes less impressive when the audience can't be seen. I'm not telling you to keep the spotlights shining in one spot. At least do the thing where the spotlights move around all over the place.
Finn, bang, stop.
I seriously hope I don't have to consider doing a bonus round for every time Michael Cole says bang.
Priest with a kick.
You mean to tell me that the referee did not hear the sound of a chair colliding with a body? I know she's distracted by Carlito on the ring apron, but this has happened before where referees are aware of what's going on behind them, thus causing inconsistency.
Then up top, again, from again, Priest.
I'm sorry, but no, this was just terrible. I can let slide that Damian Priest survived the first coup de grace when he kicked out, but then he took a second one to the back of the head, followed by a third to his lower back. 3 coup de graces onto 3 separate parts of his body, and all of a sudden he's magically healed with enough strength to hit a South of Heaven and win? That is worth 15 sins for no selling. Also, this does not bode well for Finn Balor at all. Betrays Damian Priest, runs away from him, loses a tag team match to him, and now a singles match. Both scenarios involve Judgment Day trying to help Finn get the victory too. How are we supposed to take Finn Balor seriously again? Triple H is out here to make an historic announcement regarding the upcoming Crown Jewel event, which of course involves a new championship trophy. I'll get to that later when I send that event, but when you think about it, this covers practically half the match card for the next PLE since we're doing 5 matches per show these days. 2 matches and they're not even proper feuds. Starting to feel like the old days of WWE in Saudi Arabia, and not for the good reasons. The idea of this as an annual event is okay. Flawed, but okay. However, I'd be lying if I said I did not like the Crown Jewel Championship belt, because that is absolutely amazing, especially when one considers how much that thing is actually worth, with all those jewels on it. Just a shame that it's an annual title for this specific event, and not a defending title. But anyways, 5 cents off for that amazing championship title.
As the best of the best.
So what you're saying is this is Survivor Series when they did the Brand Wars. On that note, why can't we just do this for the tag team and mid-card titles as well? Set up Crown Jewel to be a Clash of Champions-like event or something. WWE remembered that neither world champion are defending their championships tonight, so let's have Gunther at least make a cameo appearance of some sort. Also, this has me realizing something. Neither world champion are defending tonight, and as a result of the announcement, neither world champion will defend their title at the next PLE, which means there will not be a world championship match on a PLE for 3 entire months. This just doesn't sit right with me, you know? Wasn't it bad enough when the part-timers were doing this? The fans are chanting for Goldberg now, but rest assured they will be complaining online if WWE grants Goldberg a World Heavyweight Championship match against Gunther as a result of the chants.
Oh, wait a minute!
Hey, Sami Zayn is here! We might as well have their scheduled World Heavyweight Championship match right now, even if they're performing in suits and street clothes. And this brawl once again has me questioning why they couldn't simply put this match on the PLE. The feud and build-up was far better than the one involving Finn Balor and Damian Priest, so couldn't they have at least replaced that match?
And Triple H congratulating.
Goldberg gets his arm raised and his music played for doing absolutely nothing in this situation. What the hell are we doing here? Coming up next, we got Dominic Mysterio being locked in a shark cage while Rhea Ripley fights Liv Morgan. And given the history of anyone locked in shark cages, it makes it pretty obvious that this tactic will never work and Liv will escape with her Women's World Championship once again. Also, this idea of locking Dominic in a shark cage to prevent interference would make me feel that Liv Morgan is by herself. But then there's the rest of the Judgment Day who are also aligned with Liv. Why not lock everyone in the shark cage and put it on the stage? Let me guess, because War Games is coming up soon?
And no one to help you win.
Just by Rhea Ripley saying that line alone, it's safe to say that Liv Morgan has a mysterious ally at the ready in case her presence is needed. They're practically giving away what's going to happen without actually executing the match.
I'm gonna stay.
Piper Niven is awesome simply for accepting the party invitation against the wishes of Chelsea Green. Another great callback to the time Eddie Guerrero and Chyna rode together in a lowrider to the arena. Good times indeed.
Down the street, the drop top. Well, I don't know if I like.
That one awkward moment when the music playing these two to the arena in the lowrider was far more catchy than Liv Morgan's own music. She definitely needs a new theme. You know the drill. And then Rhea Ripley accidentally gets her head stuck between the bars and has to be pried out of there before the match could start. The fact that Dominic Mysterio toilet paper is actually a thing being sold. I'm sorry, but why are we making toilet paper fancy even if it has Dominic's face on it? This is how you know the security has no faith in the shark cage. Dominic has to be chained to the cage in addition to being locked in and suspended in the air. A little bit overkill, wouldn't you agree?
One more secret! You're a little scared of heights!
Not really a secret anymore since Michael Cole just announced that fact to us while you were making your entrance.
Disqualifications, countouts don't matter.
Actually they do. Michael says that as if this match was suddenly changed to a no disqualification match, which would in turn make the shark cage pointless if Dominic was legally allowed to interfere per the rules.
Hope someday she meets Sky with big muscles, maybe even Australia.
Morgan looking to take advantage.
That was one of the funniest chop block fails I have ever seen. Rhea Ripley unknowingly countered the chop block by bending her leg and lifting it. What hilarious timing.
Dozens of feet in the air.
Dozens? He's not even 15 feet off the ground. Corey Graves with the overreaction as always because he has to support the bad guys.
The others want to refer to them as Romeo and Juliet.
In what freaking world are Dominic and Liv referred to as Romeo and Juliet? Anyone who's ever watched the play knows that those two could never be together and eventually poison themselves.
And now, oh!
Mama Maracle said it best when she watched the show with me. Liv Morgan has shown more talent here than all her matches combined. If she was this talented all along, where was this a couple years back?
Man, you're nothing!
Oh!
Monologuing is a villain's greatest weakness, and if Liv knows Rhea Ripley as well as she claims, then she should know better than to taunt and slap her at a time like this. This is done to make one believe that Dominic Mysterio picked the lock to open the door, when in reality, all we did was reach around and unlock the door as that was the only way it was locked. The chain attached to his feet was really supposed to be used to keep the door locked, so I place a sin to the security for once again being morons. Rhea Ripley had the chance to win the match and blew it if you ask me. No Raquel Rodriguez necessary as she wastes all her time taunting Dominic while beating up Liv Morgan, when the ultimate thing she could have and should have done is defeat Liv in the ring and pin her while staring up at Dominic. But because she went down the route of beating up Liv just to toy with Dominic, she deserved to lose the match. WWE doesn't exactly have a good reputation when it comes to this sort of thing, so I wasn't really the biggest fan of Dominic falling out of the shark cage and nearly killing himself. Not to mention, hanging by your leg with a chain isn't exactly a risk worth taking, as your leg can be severely damaged even with a protective cover on. That, and I almost shit my pants when I saw that out of legitimate concern.
I got unfinished business. You deserve that.
Bullshit. Any referee would immediately tell Rhea Ripley to stay in the ring no matter what business she needs to take care of. WWE, remember when Chris Jericho referred to himself as a sexy pinata while locked in a shark cage and decided to make that a literal thing with Dominic Mysterio? Even if this causes Rhea Ripley to fail to win back the Women's World Championship, it was still a funny moment. I find it hilarious that the referee conveniently misses Raquel Rodriguez attacking Rhea Ripley when Rhea was thrown right in front of him, but then actually discovers Raquel's involvement at a moment where he was supposed to miss it, thus causing one of the most confusing disqualification endings we've seen in recent times.
Partially responsible for that.
The bell rings for the disqualification despite the fact that the referee is busy attending to Dominic Mysterio, and if he called for it off screen, that caused more confusion for us viewers.
Well,
Raquel Rodriguez was clearly supposed to put Liv Morgan over Rhea Ripley so that the former can pin the latter and retain her championship. But I would think Raquel would forget about that part after she clearly heard the bell ring for the disqualification. In situations like that, you have to improvise at all costs. That's the rule. WWE labels Saturday night's main event as a PLE despite the fact that this is supposed to be a television special on NBC. Did the plans change? I'm still confused on what just happened in the previous match. Don't get me even more confused with this, please.
JetLife Stadium.
I get that you're trying to reference the Jets, but it's still MetLife Stadium, and that pun was absolutely terrible.
Was not man enough to defend.
I gotta say, Solo Sikoa is sinking lower and lower with every passing month. Claims Roman Reigns was not man enough to defend the Universal Championship against Cody Rhodes. Meanwhile, Solo couldn't get the job done twice in a row. Couldn't beat Cody clean, couldn't beat Cody with interference. Not the first time I've asked this, but how are we supposed to take Solo Sikoa seriously as the Tribal Chief and a main event talent again? Close to 14 minutes of entrances, and 10 of those minutes involve one entire team. And we really have a lot of time to take a bathroom and snack break in between matches these days, don't we? Cody Rhodes saw that one video of a marching band performing his music at a game once and invited them to perform his theme live. After seeing this performance, with all due respect, I think it's best we leave the marching bands to the actual games at their schools because this was absolutely horrendous and lasted way too long as well.
Wrestling has won. Wrestling has won.
And to add into the awkwardness, the production team restarted Cody's music for reasons unknown. Everything was perfectly set and ready to go, even the marching band. So why the restart? Was Cody coming back from the bathroom or something?
The following is a tag team.
You already said that when Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu were making their entrance, Samantha. Everything is going wrong here tonight, isn't it? This is really defeating the purpose of WrestleMania if the wrestlers can just get custom entrances at B-level premium live events. Also, this drummer to the right is drumming to absolutely nothing and not getting in sync with Roman Reigns' music. I should just throw in 20 cents. Stop the pain.
A lot about the history between these two men.
Not to worry, I can read lips. I'm pretty sure Roman Reigns said, "I got your back, but the pizza you served me last night was missing my favorite toppings, so you're going to start the match first." Important rule, never miss a pizza topping. Cody Rhodes be like, "I'm ready to fight in my home." Gosh darn it, Roman, did you have to let one loose when I'm standing right here?
Not the second row.
Immediately returned.
Jacob Fatu takes a single disaster kick, and that requires Solo Sikoa to jump in and start criticizing him. Or he's probably telling Jacob to tone it down, because he's supposed to be the one who looks the most dominant, and a single super kick from Jacob outshines his entire arsenal. Over 5 minutes of standing, staring, a couple moves, followed by more standing, staring, and slow tagging.
Solo with some major victories over major superstars.
It's just sad how much they're trying to make Solo Sikoa work as a top threat in WWE with it failing every time. Instead of constantly repeating how Jacob Fatu is not the legal wrestler, how about the referee starts giving Jacob the 5 count if he doesn't return to his corner?
Victories again.
5-sin penalty activates for the disrespectful "you can't wrestle" chants. I don't care whether one likes a certain wrestler or not. Doing that chant is when you have no respect for professional wrestling at all, as those wrestlers can do the job better than you ever could.
Between his hip and the turnbuckle.
I do wonder, is Jacob Fatu trying to convince Roman Reigns that Solo Sikoa is the tribal chief? Or convince himself because he can't believe in himself?
Would put Solo back at the front of the line.
Considering Solo Sikoa only ever got his 2 WWE Championship matches because he declared himself the #1 contender, I don't think that would work a third time. Not to mention, Cody Rhodes himself told Solo that he has run out of chances.
Get the Roman. Solo wisely made the tag.
Solo Sikoa tags himself in and just stands around waiting for Cody Rhodes to get out of his mannequin challenge on the canvas.
Yanking Reigns.
Ow, my hands!
Roman seemingly returned.
Cody Rhodes is in desperate need of a tag, and Roman Reigns began to fire up the crowd so that he can get tagged in. So why is he going to the opposite direction here? Revenge for Cody standing in his way on the football field?
Spike. Reigns ducked underneath.
Damn, where was this athleticism during Roman's 1,300-day-long title reign? Ducking the Samoan spike into a crucifix pin was an amazing move from the OTC.
Well, Solo's lead with a splash.
The moonsault and Samoan splash combination was awesome. The last 5 minutes of this match delivered very well.
Champ.
And then the table breaks out of nowhere like that one time Tony Storm destroyed an announce table simply by removing a few papers from it. Oof.
Beat it. Reigns. Splash.
What I love about Cody's leap through the announce table was the salute to Roman Reigns, fully confirming that the two kept their words about having the others back. 3 more sins will be taken off the counter for this chaotic tag team main event. As that move is not exactly something that is part of Solo Sikoa's arsenal, the copy Reigns infringement sin qualifies.
And now Solo screaming it.
Solo rants to Roman that the latter lied to him about being next in line as the tribal chief, which doesn't make sense because Roman lost the WWE Championship to Cody Rhodes, and then Solo immediately decided to take over as the new tribal chief afterward. At what point did Roman lie to him? The reveal of Jimmy Uso as a hooded figure with a face mask was a lot more intense than his unmasking. They did a great job making that reveal, so here's another 2 sins off.
The original bloodline's here.
Minus Jay, of course, and Paul Heyman, and Sami Zayn. Because Roman Reigns did not time his decision right in the post-match assault, Jacob Fatu had to stay perched on the top rope for longer than he normally would. Before I state why I think this appearance is a waste, I will first remove 10 sins for this. Only The Rock could appear for 1 minute at the end of the show, look to the ring, raise his eyebrow, not say a single word, leave, and the entire world goes wild. The final boss is still around. However, the one thing I'm going to sin about this is his appearance feels a little pointless, as it does nothing for the immediate future. The Rock shows up for a brief minute, and we're not even following up the following week, or the rest of this year apparently. We're just moving forward like it never happened. Wow, the final boss just showed up. we're just supposed to ignore that?
I am absolutely sick and tired of these vile rumors that my reaction to CM Punk's return to WWE last year was fake. When I clearly mentioned before that the reason I was recording myself was because I thought Randy Orton, who just also returned, was going to hit an RKO on Jey Uso, the guy who was kind of responsible for him being gone for 2 years. Let's take a look at the tape.
Keep an eye on the Viper.
Gotcha, fuckface.